Welcome to Storytime with Mama V. I'm your host, Victoria, but you can call me Mama V. In this show, we go on storytime adventures where magic exists, where brave knights and courageous princesses come out to play, and where the good always defies evil. Now, get comfy, because storytime is about to begin. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with Mama V. I'm so excited to read to you today. Today, we're going to be reading Wally, the Wellfleet Oyster. Let's get right into it. This is Wally, the Wellfleet Oyster. He grew up in Wellfleet, Cape Cod, with 1,345 brothers and sisters. It's not always easy growing up in a big family, let alone a huge ocean. Wally, being the smallest of them all, got teased now and again by his siblings. Most of Wally's brothers and sisters already had their pearl, but not Wally. He just wanted to fit in with everyone else. So he decided it was time to go out and search for his pearl. Wally left the comfort of his home in Drummer Cove to set off on his adventure. First stop, Blackfish Creek. Maybe his pearl is there? He grasped the sand and pulled himself slowly along the ocean floor. Soon after, Wally came across two horseshoe crabs. Hi, I'm Wally. What's your name?
I'm Gus, and this here is Sheila,
the boy horseshoe crab said. Sheila was bigger than Gus, but Gus didn't seem to mind. He seemed too in love for it to matter. Just then, a seagull splashed in above them.
Nice day today, isn't it? I'm Penny,
the seagull said. Hi, Penny, they all yelled. I'm out looking for my pearl. Have you seen it any around here? Wally asked his new friends. No, we haven't. Sorry, replied Sheila. Try looking in Pain Hollow. I've seen other creatures like yourself over there. Maybe they have your pearl.
We're headed that direction for migration season. You can hitch a ride with us,
Gus replied.
What about the Lobster King?
Penny cried.
He helps ocean creatures and he loves pearls.
Thanks, Penny, Wally said. Off to Pain Hollow Wally went, riding on the tail of his new friends. Pain Hollow was a bit of a swim. They made it there just as the tide was going out. Thanks again for the ride, Wally said.
You're welcome. See you around,
Gus replied. Wally came face to face with little streams of water flowing into small pools. He saw something glitter at the bottom. Maybe my pearl is in there, Wally cried. He zoomed down the chute of water like a fast slide, tumbling and turning as he went. Wally came to the end of the small stream and was greeted by two very serious mussels.
Stop right there,
one mussel said.
All outsiders must be questioned.
But what's back there? Wally asked, trying to look around the mussels.
It's the Lobster King's castle,
the other mussel proclaimed.
Wait, we're supposed to be asking the questions. So, what business do you have with the king?
The first mussel asked. I'm hoping he can help me find my pearl, Wally said. The mussels noticed Wally was a little sad.
Well, the king does love his jewels. Come on in,
the second mussel said kindly. Wally made his way toward the king's throne.
What can I do for you?
The Lobster King asked as he inspected his treasure. I'm looking for my pearl and was wondering if you had one you could spare, Wally replied.
Your pearl, you say? I do love shiny things. However, as you can see, I'm all out of pearls at the moment. I recently heard that the great humpback whale grants wishes and that she's passing through Wellfleet Harbor. If you're lucky, you might just catch her, the Lobster King said.
Thank you, Your Highness, Wally replied with joy. He said goodbye to the king and mussels and left in a hurry to search for the humpback whale. As Wally headed toward the harbor, the current pulled him off course into Logie Bay. He heard music and laughter ahead when all of a sudden he got swept up in a fiddler crab party. As the crabs danced, they pushed Wally closer to the water's edge. By the time Wally wiggled free, he was way off track. He looked around and found a fiddler crab digging his hole.
Why, hello, I'm George. It's a fine day to be digging holes. What brings you to my neck of the water?
He asked. I got lost while looking for my pearl. I'm the only one in my family without it.
Wally began to cry.
George scurried over and sat quietly next to Wally, supporting his new friend.
It's going to be okay, Wally, George said.
Have you heard of the humpback whale that grants wishes? Wally asked George.
I've heard of her, George said. There's talk that she's all-powerful and can help with anything. Last I heard, she was out in the bay, just beyond the marshes. You can't miss her.
Yes, that's who I need to find, Wally said. He thanked George and said goodbye. Good luck, George yelled after Wally. Wally pulled himself across the sand and through the marshes, looking for the magical humpback whale. Where could she be? Wally wondered. He searched and searched and searched. When Wally thought all was lost, the flow of the water shifted and he finally saw the whale in the distance. Wait! Wally shouted. Please, can you help me? The whale stopped and swam towards Wally.
Are you talking to me? The whale asked. You can call me Mrs. Whale.
Yes, my name is Wally, and I've been searching the whole bay for you, Wally replied.
Well, then, what can I do for you? She asked.
I'm looking for my pearl. I was told that you are magical and can grant wishes.
That's what you heard, huh? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not magical, Mrs. Whale replied.
What you're seeking cannot be found in the sea. You have your own magic that can be found within. Once you accept who you truly are, you will get your pearl. You must believe in yourself that you can achieve what you set your mind to. That is the advice I give you. Mrs. Whale handed him a mirror. Do you like what you see? As Wally looked at his reflection, his frown began to turn into a smile. I do. You're right. It's not about my size. It's not about what others think. It's about believing in myself just as I am. Wally cried with glee. Thank you, Mrs. Whale.
You're welcome, Wally. Now hurry home, Mrs. Whale said, as she swam off into the deep.
Wally quickly and excitedly set off for home. His journey back gave him time to think about his great adventure. He made so many amazing friends who stayed true to themselves. Wally was welcomed home by all of his brothers and sisters, who frantically asked where he went. Where'd you go, Wally? We were missing you, Wally. You disappeared, Wally. It's getting late and we were worried about you, one of his sisters said as they all swarmed around him. You're our little brothers and we don't want anything bad to happen to you. I went out searching for my pearl, Wally replied.
What'd you do that for?
One of his brothers asked. It's because all of you have your pearls, and I'm the only one who still doesn't, Wally stated sleepily.
He didn't realize how tired he was.
Don't worry. In good time, you'll get your pearl. You just have to believe, another sister said. That made Wally feel better and reminded him of the lesson Mrs. Whale taught him. As the lights went out, Wally and his oyster family cuddled up together and fell asleep. The next morning, a weird feeling woke Wally up.
Oh, what is that?
He felt something shift inside, so he opened his shell and found his pearl. Turns out, it was there all along. He just had to search within himself to find it. What a beautiful story and what a beautiful message. So often we look outside of ourselves to, maybe find a compliment or a kind word, and turns out the magic and the pearl is always within ourselves. This brings us to the end of our episode today. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to share this episode with a friend, leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, and I will see you on the next episode of Storytime with Mama V. Bye for now.